Hey everybody, welcome back to another 10-minute Marvel video. I'm Petter, and, well, today we have this. We have this new image, allegedly, from the Fantastic Four movie with Giganto. Now, I'm not going to leave it up here the whole time. I don't want to necessarily spoil anything in the thumbnail for, well, if people are trying to avoid rumors and theories and things like that. But I wanted to use it as an opportunity to talk about the Fantastic Four villains, because it does seem like we're going to get a number of different villainous characters in here. At CCXP, I believe it was, Joseph Quinn said that Mole Man's going to be in it. We've seen, I believe, one of the sewer covers hinted at the idea of Mole Man as well. And then there's also, of course, Silver Surfer and Galactus. We don't know who John Malkovich is playing yet. There's been rumors for villains for him, Puppet Master, forget the name of the other villain who people have considered him for as well. So we're looking like a number of different villains for this movie. And how is that going to work? Now, I think we're going to have really two main villains, that being Galactus and whoever John Malkovich is playing. Now, I think it is those two because I think they want to have two different types of villains for this film. Silver Surfer is going to be a villain by proxy through Galactus, but I think characters like Mole Man and Giganto, I don't think they're going to be major players for this film. Mole Man maybe will pop back up again, all puns intended there, but Giganto I would expect, or I mean, really, that doesn't even, it's probably Giganto, but that's also very much Fantastic Four #1, where they fight kind of a giant creature like that who's a henchman or who's controlled by Mole Man. So seems like we could be getting some Fantastic Four #1. If you listen to the podcast, both Greg and I were like, we probably won't have that much. But why do I think two villains mainly for this? I think two villains mainly for this because it allows them to handle it in two different ways. I think that one of the important things for a good film is it can't just be something giant that's the villain. From, I believe, early screening, there was some talk that like Galactus was absolutely terrifying. That's awesome. That's what we want to see in this film. We want a terrifying, massive destroyer of worlds. However, Galactus is not necessarily the most nuanced character. He seeks to destroy. And I gave kind of a theory as to why he might be after Earth, and in particular after one of the family, in yesterday's video. So check that out there. But I think that a good video or a good movie needs kind of a human element to it too. And yes, some of that is going to be character development for the Fantastic Four, but I think an Earth-based villain is also important. Now, you could have done something like a Doctor Doom and had kind of started setting up that rivalry between Reed, and Doom. But I think it's better to have maybe just a one-off human villain. And I think somebody who has butted heads with Reed. Now, I think I tossed this theory out yesterday as well. But in Fantastic Four Life Story #1, there's a scientist. That scientist well, he's originally kind of in charge of the space race for the US, but he isn't getting stuff done fast enough. And so Reed is brought in, and this guy is relegated to being ground control. So it could be something like that. Or it could just be, and this is where I would love to remember the name of this other villain, but this other villain basically, he is trying to recreate the Fantastic Four. And he's trying to do that with apes, but really he's looking to kind of bring on his own team and villainy, and just is working out of jealousy, I think could be one way that they handle it. And I like that idea that you have somebody working out of jealousy. I think you can often get that dynamic between Doctor Doom and Reed to some extent. The both of them are geniuses. But if this person was completely overshadowed by Reed in college, and maybe even was hoping to like work with NASA, but couldn't because Reed was there, this is going to be somebody who now is looking to discredit the Fantastic Four. It doesn't have to be about the experiments that this guy's doing. Those could be like a little fun extra thing. But the jealousy, I think, is important because he would then be looking to discredit the Fantastic Four. And he'd be looking to blame them, maybe unintentionally, rightfully so, for Galactus showing up on Earth. And if that's the case, that to me is that interesting human element that you get in a story like this. Who is willing to stand up for the Fantastic Four, and who's going to stand against the Fantastic Four the second things become hard? How quickly is the populace going to forget what the Fantastic Four has done? Because if this is Giganto, from that image, then they've obviously defeated him. Like that's not going to be a part of the story going forward. I think it's going to be more of a, this has already happened. They've already done that job. Kind of that montage maybe at the beginning of the film where we see how the Fantastic Four become heroes. Or maybe it will be like a flashback to what the Fantastic Four have done partially through the film. But, and I was talking about this other villain, it could be the Puppet Master too. Maybe they have John Malkovich playing the Puppet Master. They have Natasha Lyonne playing Alicia Masters. And that's some of the dynamic of the film. As the Puppet Master, it's not about, well, it is about puppeting people. It's about manipulating people. And so it could be when this thing goes wrong, he's now looking to manipulate everybody in the situation. He's looking to manipulate and control on the little puppet strings all of humanity to turn them against the Fantastic Four, because in a world where the Fantastic Four have created kind of peace, villains, of course, are going to want to break that down. And I think that's one of the insidious ways that it could be done, just by planting the seeds of doubt and pushing on them, especially as Galactus shows up. The idea of the Silver Surfer showing up. We see kind of the sky being messed with, whether that's the Watcher. Again, this comes from the Fantastic Four comics number 48. If that happens in the trailer, all of it, the Puppet Master could try and blame on the Fantastic Four. And to create this struggle for the Fantastic Four of knowing that there may be heroes, but is that enough? Are people still going to love them? Let me know your thoughts on that down in the comment section below. Do you think that image is actually real? I don't have a super strong source for it at this point in time, so I'll be curious. I hope it is. It's very much Fantastic Four #1, which is awesome. So I'd love to see nods like that to the film, or in the film to the comics. Drop your comments on that down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this content, please give the video a thumbs up. And we'll be talking about this image, at least to some extent, over on the 10-Minute Marvel podcast. Next episode coming out, our main focus is going to be on Ironheart, but in the news and rumors, we'll be covering this new image. So if you want to check out the podcast and check out our full conversation on these comics that I've been referencing, you can do that here on YouTube. Click onto the tab, subscribe, and click that notification bell if you haven't already. We appreciate everybody who has and who's checking out these videos. And then click on the podcast tab. Or you can search for 10-Minute Marvel wherever you get your friendly neighborhood podcasts from. But with that, we'll see you next time.